Recorded Books and RB Digital present Breakthrough by Michael C. Grumley. Narrated by Scott Brick.
1. Something out there sounded strange. He pressed the headphones in tighter against his ears. Sonar operators were a special breed. Few people could sit in front of a computer screen, fighting monotony day after day, listening to the faintest of sounds through lonely ocean waters. But for the few who could, it was surprising how attuned a human sense could become. Eugene Walker would rather be a ping jockey than do any other job in the Navy. Here, he could hear everything. Even on a boring night like this, he knew exactly what surrounded them as they slid silently through the dark waters. What he was listening to tonight was odd, though. He had heard it for some time, but couldn't pin it down. He shifted in his seat and studied the computer screen in front of him, listening to the strange sound picked up by his computer. He played it again and again, and still could not place it. Some jockeys were rumored to be so good that they could identify the current moving through the coral, but those guys had spent their entire lives on their boats. He couldn't hear currents, though he had identified some natural occurrences that the computers could not. But this one was strange. A steady hum at a very low frequency, and just barely within the range of human hearing. Not more than 10 feet behind Walker stood Commander Sykes, reading through yet another fascinating maintenance report. Sykes was a stickler for detail, as most were, but even the best commanders eventually fell prey to the unrelenting boredom of perfect routine. He picked up his warm coffee and sipped, letting his mind wander to his wife and girls at home, wondering if they were in bed yet. He glanced at his watch absently and turned the page, now just scanning for anything that stuck out. By pure instinct, from the corner of his eye, he noticed his navigation officer repeatedly looking at the instruments, and then back to the table and his digital map. "Something wrong, Willie?" Willie Mendez didn't reply for a long moment. Reporting a problem to the XO wasn't something you did without triple-checking. Sykes turned slowly, still reluctant to take his eye off the report, which was now blurring into a jumble of words. The officer looked closer at the large illuminated 3-square-foot map between them. "I'm getting something strange here, sir." Sykes looked at the table and back up to another monitor, seeing the problem immediately. He took the clear rule and recalculated himself. He frowned and looked back at the young navigator. "How many times have you checked this?" 4 times. Sykes scratched his chin while Mendez spoke. "Plotting from our last verifiable had us here 2 minutes ago." He zoomed in on the screen, enlarging the area. A small circle appeared next to his index finger, joined by small GPS coordinates hovering beside it. He then moved his finger further up the chart in the same direction. Now, it's reporting us here. "In 2 minutes?" Sykes's response was rhetorical. He shook his head and sighed. 380 knots was a bit optimistic for a nuclear-class submarine. Was it a glitch? This wasn't the first computer malfunction they'd had, far from it. He knew that software written by some geek hyped up on Jolt was far more fallible than traditional mechanical or electrical systems. Hell, even the cooks knew that by now. "Anything else acting buggy?" "No, sir." "Run integrity checks on both systems." "Already started, sir." All eyes turned to the monitor now displaying the results. "Systems report no consistency errors." Great. Broken software that doesn't even know it's broken. Sykes looked closely at the orange GPS display. "Try resyncing the satellites." Willie complied and waited. He began to slowly shake his head.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.